NATO aircraft were dispatched on the night of September 9th, 2025, in response to a wave of Russian-made unmanned aerial vehicles that infiltrated Polish airspace. Dutch F-35s were among the fighters assigned to intercept drones. The majority of the credited intercepts were attributed to the Dutch jets, as well as Polish F-16s. Ultimately, up to 4 drones were confirmed to have been shot down. That means the F-35 shot down 2 to 3 drones. Moving forward, we will methodically analyze the F-35's performance, focusing on the engagement's strengths, limitations, and tactical issues that arose. The first aspect is the detection and cueing. One can say that the sensors did their job, but only partially. One of the F-35's most advertised features is its sensor fusion, which unifies radar, electro-optical, infrared, and data link inputs into a single uncluttered cockpit image. During this incident, the F-35s were directed to their targets by NATO command centers and airborne early warning platforms. Subsequently, the jets effectively engaged the small unmanned aerial vehicles within Polish airspace. This demonstrated that the F-35 is capable of identifying and neutralizing unconventional aerial intruders when the battle space is organized with sufficient external surveillance and cueing. However, the difference between selective detection and mass tracking was eventually clear. These small, slow, and low radar cross-section drones proved difficult for sensors largely designed for high-speed aircraft. While the F-35 could detect and cue against individual targets once provided external prompts, its own organic ability to survey and confidently classify numerous low-altitude contacts remained limited compared to purpose-built counter-UAV systems. In summary, the F-35's sensor fusion is most effective when targets have already been identified and transferred, but it is not designed for autonomous mass tracking of swarms. The second aspect to look at is the engagement mechanics. How did the missiles and seekers perform against small, slow targets? According to reports, the Dutch F-35s, with the assistance of Polish F-16s, used guided air-to-air missiles to destroy the drones. These successful engagements illustrated that the F-35 maintains a credible combat capability against uncommon, low-speed unmanned systems. Confirmed kills were achieved through proper coordination of missile kinematics, seeker sensitivity, and pilot targeting, which is a noteworthy accomplishment given the nature of the threat. Nevertheless, the physics and sensor dynamics are not wholly favorable. Against drones with irregular flight profiles and weak signatures, modern radar and infrared seekers are optimized for high-closure threats. This resulted in issues such as greater reliance on favorable geometries, more near misses requiring corrective pilot action, and shortened seeker lock windows. The F-35 was not intended for rapid, repetitive interception of a large number of small aerial objects, even though it can effectively engage certain drones. The third aspect is maneuverability and handling. Here we look at the intercept profiles and pilot workload. Intercepting small drones is especially challenging, requiring precise sensor management, rapid adjustments, and close-in maneuvering. In this case, the F-35 pilots demonstrated their ability to conduct successful engagement passes, highlighting the aircraft's advanced flight control, cockpit ergonomics, and stable handling. Stealth design and flight characteristics did not seem to impede the process of establishing a firing position. Even so, fatigue and burden emerged as critical limitations. The pilots were subjected to significant cognitive and operational strain from the individual targeting of each drone. This compelled them to perform repetitive tasks far below the fighter's intended combat role. Although feasible on a restricted scale, using multi-role stealth fighters as drone hunting platforms is inefficient in both design purpose and labor. The fourth important aspect is the data links, command and control, and interoperability. Combined Air Operations Centers and AWACS provided real-time vectoring as the engagements unfolded under NATO's layered command structure. The F-35's data-linked battle management functions were instrumental, allowing the fighter to close and execute effective missile shots once given a clear track. This interoperability highlighted one of the jet's most significant advantages as a coalition asset. Conversely, the event exposed deficiencies in coordination. Each handoff became increasingly vulnerable to delays or disruptions due to the involvement of AWACS, ground radars, NATO networks, and multiple interceptors. Any miscommunication or degraded link undermines the F-35's effectiveness against opportunistic drone intrusions, since its data link strength depends on a seamless kill chain. The fifth aspect is communication fragility and electronic warfare. The situation became more complex when reports emerged that an F-35 declared Squawk 7600, meaning lost radio emergency, during a sortie. This raised concerns that Russian electronic warfare assets had disrupted its communications. Such interference sparked real worries, as the F-35's networking capabilities are essential to its role as a distributed sensor and weapon. The fighter's core advantage was dramatically weakened when forced to operate in standalone mode after losing data link connectivity and radio. This underscored a larger operational vulnerability. Even the most advanced aircraft lose a critical edge in contested electromagnetic environments if networking fails. The sixth aspect is rules of engagement and tactical decisions. Political constraints and engagement regulations, alongside technical capabilities, heavily influenced F-35 performance. NATO commanders set careful thresholds for armed responses to Russian drones, prioritizing identification certainty and escalation control. As a result, the F-35 pilots may have been technically able to engage more drones, but operational policy restricted the number of intercepts attempted. This remains speculative, however. Now, let's look at sustainment and sortie tempo. The engagement was framed by practical sustainability issues. Fuel load, available weapons, and sortie rates are major constraints for fighters like the F-35. NATO tankers provided support for extended operations, but this highlighted a persistent challenge. Fighters are limited in intercepting drones by fuel, ammunition, and pilot endurance. The number of drones a squadron can neutralize in a wave is fundamentally capped by these support factors, regardless of aircraft capability. Finally, what was the bottom line? The F-35 proved its ability to acquire targets, execute lethal intercepts against unmanned aircraft, and operate effectively when cued. Its weapons integration and networked combat management were validated in this engagement. At the same time, the incident highlighted deficiencies: limited organic tracking of small drones, seeker limitations against low-signature UAVs, growing pilot workload, and vulnerability to electronic warfare. In short, the F-35 could not withstand Russian electronic warfare. In essence, the F-35 was effective against externally tracked and selected targets, but it is not well suited for sustained counter-drone missions. Its value declines against massed, low-cost swarms, especially under electronic contestation. The F-35's true strength remains in its original purpose: a stealthy, networked, multi-role platform optimized for high-end peer combat, not as the first line of counter-drone defense. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, please take our channel membership, which is very affordable, to encourage us